Hi there! Guess what? Started a bit early. I'm eager to get going with this one actually. It's a lovely image. I pinched it off the internet, so no, it's not me, it's not Lynn or anything. And we're going to use it as a reference for our figure study. We're going to be working in charcoal. I'm on gesso paper. We do like the charcoal and acrylic technique. But with this one, I'm going to use a palette knife. Now I know I'm going to start, well, in a few weeks' time when we start doing the next 12, one of the people I'll be looking at is Mark Dempstead. I don't know if you've heard of him. He does a very similar kind of style, but we're going to have a look at it, and we're going to try it with this one really, and see what we can come up with. But with one of the figurative ones, we're going to look at Mark Dempstead. He does a lot of figures, especially the ladies, and he puts clothing on them naturally, but he puts them on with palette knives and very kind of lovely colourful things they are, but the figure itself is actually more or less charcoal. He uses inks as well. So again, it's a good bloke to look at, and you get some ideas from them as well. So with this one, I'm going to have a similar kind of style to what he does, but in our technique using charcoal. Okay, so it's gessoed lining paper. I'll give it a coat this morning. It's lovely and flat that night. I am going to put a little bit of colour on, I think, just to put, because this one is the colour, and I'm going to use two colours I think actually, instead of using lots of different ones. I'm going to use some yellow and a bit of, or I might use just sienna and a bit of green, and then see if I can put, because I'm going to be using either alizarin or cerulean blue over the top for the fabric, so you know we can have a look at that. We're kind of going to destroy it at the end, so you should enjoy it. I know you don't want to destroy it, but you could create some lovely things with this technique. The charcoal gives you the figure, which is realism, and then your palette knife and the colour gives you abstraction, so you change it slightly so it's realistic and abstract at the same time. So that's what we're aiming for today. I've got my colours ready. Like I said, I've not got them out actually. I should have done to save a bit of time. That's the reason I started a little bit earlier. So I got it, well, I'll use a bit of yellow because I've put it out now. Yeah, a bit of yellow sienna and a touch of green. I do like the way the green kind of reacts with the burnt sienna to warm it up. So we're not doing cool blues and reds today. We will do, I've got some cerulean blue like I said. Might use that just to give the fabric that look that she's got, and just sketching the figure and rub out the light bits with a damp cloth. Again, we're using a damp cloth. We'll be using some hairspray, the colours, like I said, big brush. So we've got our big brush. I'm just going to look at the lighter tones first, and then add some sienna like this to the warmer areas, like that. And then we're going into a bit of green, which is something like this, especially in this area. And I'm just letting it run and drip a little bit, you know, and nothing too fussy. I don't want it to be too fussy really. And the light in her hair and green hair. It's blonde, so she's got green hair. Do you not know that? So we can just let that run a little bit. You can turn it on its side if you want, but I'm just going to dry it off. I'll turn it on its side a little bit, just to let it run in a different direction. And start drying it off with the hairdryer. Okay. Now I've stopped it running, and I'm going to put charcoal over the top. So this is the reason you need it to be dry. You know? If you've got, I'll just have tell you another technique, that if you've got a dry brush handy, a big one, we can use that to soften some of these ridges. If you don't want some of these harder ridges, you can see, So we can soften them with a dryer brush, which is this one. And instead of taking the tape, if I start rubbing out now, I'll just take the paint off and I'll go back to the white of the gesso. But I want to get a nice kind of blend of tones. So there's another way of just kind of, you know, blending stuff together and creating nice soft edges. You're going to get the difference between the soft edges and the hard charcoal, aren't you? You know, it's all about textures. Not much texture in this. Gin and tonic. Well, it is fried, isn't it? Oh, we're saving that for later when we look for something to eat. When Lynn comes home from work, so I'll take her for a tea today. Take her for some dinner. Okay, I can see. So if you wanted to you can rub out places or soften areas. Whatever, it's all dry, that. There's not much of a bump in it. Might just leave it. Don't want to start ripping the paper up. Sometimes it just sticks properly again. Well, I think that bump will disappear. And I like that. Okay, that's lovely and dry. If it's not dry, you're going to get big bumps. I'll just lift it. See, change my mind already. Oh, let's change my mind. And then pull that section. Pull the middle. It's the middle that usually starts to get a big bump in it. Stick it back down. Put my foot on my easel so I can pull that. And push it down. Tape, masking tape, told you before, really important. It needs to be sticking the surface to a rigid surface without you messing about with it. Okay, that's nice and flat again. So we're going to use willow charcoal. Again, I'm using coats. This is you get a nice big box of coats for £4.95, and you get all sorts of sizes in there as well. You can get mixed sizes. A lot of them are quite thick anyway, so you know we can use them. I need some more actually. This is a nice thick one. I'm just going to do the centre portion on this one with the colour is. I'm not going to do too much of this, and then we can use this the charcoal, the overpainting with the palette knife to create nice dark areas, nice light areas I should say. Lighter tones. So there you go. Ooh, what's that? I've got a mark. Mark, what's happened? Mark, dog with her lip. There you go, that's a nice charcoal tonal value. The colour you can just about see underneath. You can blend it like that. Go over it with a damp cloth. Blend it with a little cloth or tissue. Soften the edges like that. Don't start rubbing it all because you'll just take the charcoal off. And then we're going to sketch the lady. Again, great for doing live studies this. If she was sat there in front of us, you'd be looking at the live study. I hope you can see all the picture. Yeah, that's not too bad. Okay. Just move it a little bit. That's it. Because the head's going to be central. So, we've got the head. We're using the head again. So from the shoulders up, from the bottom of the neck where the hair is, to the top of the head is one head. Two head is taking you to the start of the second arm, of the arm on the left, sorry. Like that, two. And then three heads down to where the zip is, bottom of the zip, like that. And then four heads to the hand, five heads to the fingertips. Okay? Your head, this is what I mean, your hands as well, because they're nearer to you, are as big as the head. Can you see? They're as big as your face actually, but we can put this shape in. Because we got this angle of the head, we need to have that, and then we put an egg in. So what did I say? I said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just about do it. Get the fingers on there as well. So that's the hair. So we can block in. I know. So because I've rubbed out a lot of the tonal value when I blended the charcoal, I can go over that and just make it a little bit darker. Then I've got the shoulders. Now the shoulders have got this lovely kind of angle to them. Okay. Never make the shoulders, especially on a lady, more than 2 heads wide. Should be 1.5 really. So that's like that. This is the longest part here. 1. So it's kind of 1 head. Take it in a bit. 1.5. Okay. That would be to there. So we've got this nice angle coming this way. So I put the shoulders in, get rid of that, make it smaller. Make it smaller. You can always add it on. That's the angle of that arm as it gets covered by the fabric. Yeah. Like that. So we've got this lovely, nice shadowy tone. Some of these charcoals do scratch. Just be careful they don't scratch your paper, because you won't be able to rub off. And then the other head is just coming down like that. The other shoulder, sorry, head. So this is quite. If you look at the width of them, actually, can we compare them? So this shoulder is longer than that. Can you see? So we need this to be nearer because it's further away. So this shoulder is longer. Something like that. Okay? And then this arm is coming that way. Now that should be another head from the back. Okay? So where the crease is in the arm, and then the back of a clothing there, around the arm should be that shape. I don't know what that is, but then it comes out something like that. And then we go inside where the elbow is going to be, because that's the elbow. And then this comes more or less down, okay, like that. And as you get to the fingertips, which is another head, which is there, because that's the other head, you've got the hand shape, which comes from here, and it goes that way, can you see? So you get this kind of shape of the fingers, and that's all you need to put in. And then we give her some muscles, because we don't want it to be too thin, so you look a bit anemic. Not anemic, what's the word? And that gives you that arm. So you give her a few muscles, and that's and then the shape of the hand, and the other hand is higher up. It's 1 head, 2 head. That's 1 head, 2 head, 3 head, to the zip or the hand. So if that's the zip, the hand's about here. So we need to come in something like that. Okay. So if I do the negative shape here first, that gives me the zip, which is something like that, which is about 3 heads. Okay. So we take that to there, and then here it comes up, and then it goes this way. That's the curve. But we're coming down from here. We've got that arm shape, and then the back of the shoulders, which is there. Take off some of that after. Make this the neck. You know, she needs the neck. Don't not put the neck in. Else the head will just roll off the shoulders, won't it? So this is this lovely light. That's the centre of the back there, as it comes down behind this, and that comes up here, and that goes to there, something like that. This one. Just these simple angular shapes for some of this clothing. Like I said, when we do the other one, when we use the palette knife, sorry, I'll be making a lot of this up. So you got the angle there, and then this angle goes to the elbow, which is about here, like that, same as the other one. And then that's coming into this, so we're going that way, okay? Because you want to go to here, you want to go to the 3rd head. 1, 2, 3, which is about here. Yeah, to the third head and the zip just below it, and that's where you're getting the shape of a thumb, like that, and the shape of the arm. So you get a nice kind of curve, and then here we get a bit of a curve where the elbow is, and then that goes into the wrist. When you get to the wrist, always a flat shape, okay, and then we get the hand coming down, something like that. So the hand on this, we needed to make it quite big and obvious, because we're going to try and make this hand a bit more realistic, because it's actually nearer to us, yeah, so it's nearer to your subject. So keep the fingers, we've just made that a little bit thinner. Look at the distance from the elbow. You can measure it if you want with the head. 1, 2, no, do that again, 1, that's 1 and a bit. So if you do the head, it's 1 there and a bit. So that should be the wrist, okay, so you can see the wrist, and it comes down from that, and then we get this lovely shape of the fingers. And when you see the fingers, they just give you this shape like that, and then we get the thumb, which comes out from here, you can see. So one little shape, and then we get a really complicated shape, because we get a toes and a foot, and the foot's kind of just coming out from this area. Take off that line like that. So the foot's coming out from here, so I've got the heel and then the shape of the foot and the toe, okay. Feet, very big as your head, okay. Hands and feet are quite big. So we're coming from here now, because the knee is actually going that direction, because she's kneeling naturally, and then we're coming from kind of there where the hand is, and then the shape of the and you can just about see where the leg is there. Okay, now I know she's got toes, but the best thing to do is block the toes in like that, block the foot in with tone, and then use your rubber to rub out those shapes. You've got the same thing happening, if you look, with that hand, and you see, and when you take the light off the hand, it becomes more obvious as a hand. You get it? We can always make the head a little bit bigger. One of the easiest ways, if you get the head measurement wrong, the easiest way to correct it is if it's too small and it goes into the body too many times, you just make the head bigger. It's as simple as that. Yeah, that's why you are better making it a bit too small rather than a bit too big, if you know what I mean. So I'm just going to block that in and add a few more darker tones here, because that's where the back changes direction and it goes a little bit darker. Okay, I'm going to bring the zip down a bit, I think, and it curves something like that. Okay, so we get that nice shape, which is good. That's very nice. Yep. And here it's quite dark because that's where she's seated. So you've got all the charcoal's breaking, and then we've got this angle and inside the palm of a hand, things like that. Okay. I don't really want to start doing fingers, but we'll just measure them up because we want to have enough fingers again. There's one's going behind the other, so I just drag these down. I could put some light on that in a bit to make them realistic. That's quite a nice area actually. And then the hair, as it comes down the back, we can put that in with the compressed charcoal later. Now the box, entirely up to you, you don't have to do the box. I've got a line there, so I'm going to keep that line and go over it. So that would be the line of the box, if you know what I mean. So if you want to keep it in, you can, or you can wash it out. It doesn't really matter. Paint's going to go over it anyway. Okay, quite a nice picture. Nice, simple kind of image. Usually the better ones are simple. So looking at it from that, you can't see the box. It's hard work trying to get everything on this camera. But then you've got the foot, so I'm going to end up through the window in a minute. There you go. You can just see the foot. and the camera right back now near the window, and I can't get past because my chair's in way. Anyway, I need a bigger studio. Again, I get upstairs and get my loft done. So yes, so we use a tissue if you want to remove some of the charcoal dust, especially on the shoulders, because if you look at the shoulders here, back of the neck, things like that, you get this really soft area. You've got a soft area there where you're getting the shoulder blade, okay, and then you get a soft area on that arm, like that. So you can create quite an interesting mid-tone to light value just by taking some charcoal off, and then you use the rubber for the lighter tones. So the back of the arm, for instance, just catching the light because the muscle's being squashed, can you see? And then that comes into, it goes a little bit darker there. So keep your charcoal handy, because if that's the crease, and then just here we get this shape, and then we get a few folds where it goes a little bit darker in there. So again, tactile stuff, and then you can just see where the back is, where the curve of the vertebrae in the back is. Okay, so you have two muscles in your back, one on either side of your spine, like that, and they just catch the light, you see, and the other one's this side, but so that's why you get a kind of darker shape just in the middle, like that, of where, and then it goes a little bit lighter there where the green is. So that's how you get this kind of curve, and then it flattens off where the, near the coccyx or whatever, and sternum. I don't know. I'm getting good at. I'll have to learn all these terminologies for parts of the body, but just take the zip down a little bit to give more of a shape then. And then I'm going to use the rubber. The background is important on this one, so I might keep a lot of colour and light at the top of the picture. I'll keep some of the tonal values. So we need to use the rubber, need to use this as well for the light on that arm. So when you look at that elbow, elbows are bony parts of you, so they catch quite a bit of light, don't they? So as you're coming down a bit to the wrist, it goes a little bit lighter there, and then we get this highlight which is on that hand. I'm going to take the light off a little bit, the charcoal off, and then I'll let the rubber do the rest. And you've got the same kind of thing happening here. You've got a bit of light catching the elbow, and then as it comes down it blends into the rest of the arm. You've got some lovely light there actually. And then when you get to this, the top of the hand or the base of the hand, it depends which way you look at, but then you get your fingers, which I'm going to do in a bit. And this is the thumb, which is quite long, yeah. It comes from right up here where your wrist is. You've got that lovely bump, and then your thumb, and then we've got the nice shape, a bit of light on your leg, and then we've got the nice shape of the foot, which is catching quite a bit of light. So, like I said, we're going to do a lot of that with the rubber. Okay, quite an interesting spot, and I haven't got my rubber out yet. And there we go, I've cleaned a few there. Hard rubbers are much better than soft ones. So if we take the light off the shoulder blade for a kick off, because that's one of the latest parts of the picture, and it comes across the shoulders slightly, into the side of the arm, and then it disappears into the rest of the figure. And this arm as well, because it's being squashed a little bit against the torso, is catching more light, but this part of the figure, this part of the arm, sorry, is a lot lighter. So we take a lot of light off there, like that, just to be very white really. Don't forget we can rub through there as well. So that's that lovely light, and then the background tone, just going to take off the light around the shoulder and into the background and around the hair. So she's got this really nice highlight at the back, okay, which is going into that hair. It's a bit of a curve, but it's not that long, and it's not that dark, so we need to make sure we get it the right distance, you know, keep it the right distance from the, like that, the back of the neck, down the shoulders, like that, and then we go across here, top of the, and we get some nice lights here on the other shoulder blade, and then we get some nice light hitting the arm because it's being squashed. Like I said, use your fingers to blend the tones as well. Won't be scared. This is the muscle that's coming from the back down the vertebrae, the backbone. A little bit lighter there. You've also got a little bit of light here where it changes from the that really strong light on the shoulder blade, and then that goes into the rest of the shoulder. Goes lighter slightly as you get to the top because the light is coming from that direction, and then we can take off, leave a little bit of a line there if you want, but you can go up to the hair then we'll go over that later. Okay, and into the top, around the head if you want, something like that. We've actually got something there that looks like a wall, so we can take that out. Okay, and the side of this fabric, it's quite light. Don't forget, we're going to add some of these lovely shapes that are catching the light on the fabric, so we can put a few of them in like that to make them go around the object. Here we've got a nice light just hitting the rest of the back. It blends in, you can see. It's actually being squashed a little bit, can you see there? So it goes a little bit lighter there. You're always looking for the change in value slightly. Yeah, those slight changes in value. Keep the backbone, the back area, not too dark. You don't want to look in too thin. Don't forget we can move all this off. We can also use white pigment like that. So don't worry. If you want to, like I said before, if you want to add darker tone, always pick it up, then add it. Yeah. I'm going to take that into the arm and get rid of that shoulder a bit because I think it needs to be slightly across the figure, like that. Yeah, like that to there. Okay, take that shoulder up a bit. Take it off the hair actually, and then your dark area just under the shoulder blade. Okay, and then you've got this shape under here as well, like I said. I'm going to keep this arm a little bit like yeah, it looks like it's getting distorted a little bit, so it's coming around. Something like that. Okay, and then the hair, it's actually covering quite a bit of the neck, so we've got this lovely shape here. This gives you the shoulder, can you see? Yeah, that'll do. Find a little sharp area on your rubber and just go around things. Again, inside the hair, around the arm, like that. You can use that, you can also use this to soften things so you don't take too much off. We've got a nice negative space there, which is part of the fabric and also part of the background, the figure. So a lot of the colours are going to come back in this one, okay? Softer area, just about there. That's about it. Keep that soft. I mean, I'm doing this with the rubber, but when we do the cloth technique over the top, you're going to be able to get stronger lights because you can go back to the weight of your paper. So, you know, I am trying to do it with the rubber first. So as when I glaze it, because we are glazing, we can see where the lighter tones are. You get a flatness there. Same here, it's that green's making it look a lot darker than it actually should be. Okay, so I'm going to break my rubber in half to get sharp edges, okay? And use half of it to do detail. So that's the beauty of getting a nice hard rubber, so you can do the detail as well. So I'm just going to pull off. I'll do this shape first around that arm. Okay, you can just, forgot that, you can just see part of the dress coming out here as well. Just going around, which is sitting, start sitting, because that's the thumb, okay, and that's the dark area. Okay, I made the thumb stand out. So now I can get some rubber. We can use the side of it just to give me some lights and reflected lights. But as we get down to the hand, I want that really strong light on a finger, which is there. And then the other finger. So you get that, the palm of a hand, and then the inside of this finger. We can use, don't forget, we can use white pastel, we can use anything. So these are the toes, which I said leave, because you can just take them out with a shirt rubber, like that. So you're getting the nice light on the ball of the feet, like this. A little bit complicated here, but don't worry, persevere, look at the shapes, stand back, you know, got a lovely light, and we can rub that out, don't forget. This is a little bit darker because we're near the side of the box, that's where the box is. You can texturize the background by doing things like that, can't you? You know, makes it interesting. We can also do this lovely negative at the side of this side. A nice block of tone, which I'm going to rub out as well with the rubber. So this gives this shape on the box as well. Around the side of a foot, like this, and inside the foot comes quite high. Then we get this hand and the wrist and the light catching the top of this muscle in the hand like that, and then we've got the light on the thumb as well, catching the thumb. But here we've got little bits of light catching the fingers. Like that. And most of the time, putting something in like that will just about give you the right shapes for fingers, so you don't have to start doing too much detail, you know. And that's why we look at it from a distance, because you want the distance to look like it's a lot of detail in it, but it's an old advertising ploy actually, because they used to reduce images to make them more detailed. So the same thing happens when you move further away from a subject. It looks like there's more detail in it, but I'll just lighten that up a little bit. So I want my damp cloth here. You can use a bit of cloth just to take off excess charcoal on that one. And then she's got a lovely light coming down, get off, coming down the side of this arm, which starts about here actually, and then it goes all the way down the side of her arm. So that'll make a nice nice shape. If we get to this, so it goes in like that and then it comes out again. So that gives you that nice negative space. And here we've got the shape of, like I said, the foot. It's quite dark. And then this shape of the thing. So if you do these toes, you do the inside of the toes, and you see what happens. Put the lights in. You know, we're not after, so you've got weird toes, but it doesn't really matter. And then we put the angle of the shape of the instep inside the foot. Okay, not too bad, I can do that. And this lovely curve here. So we could use compressed now, just to give us some of these the darker tones before we spray it and glaze it. Yeah. Just kind of pounding it, be compressed if you like. We've got another one here somewhere, that's it. That's compressed, yeah. So I've got a nice compressed charcoal. Sometimes they're better with a bigger block, nice sharp edges, because when you get compressed charcoal, it is quite square, you see, you get a lovely square, and it's quite dark, it's hard to rework. So I'm just going to emphasise kind of shapes. It's like the inside of her arm, the shape here, this arm, the zip, because it's quite dark here at the bottom, and inside this crease, that's something like that, which comes down to there. This crease in the arm meets the shoulder. We do need to take out, which I saw earlier and I forgot about it, I've lost my little rubber now, the light between the neck and her hair. Very important you leave some negative space in the background like that, just to give her hair some, and you can do all this if you want, just to give the, you know, this kind of light catching part of her hair as it is on the picture. It's entirely up to you. We can darken things as well with a bit more compressed charcoal. So this is a little bit longer there. Nothing, hardly any change in tone. Look it up. So the compress, like I said, we'll carry on. Where you get in this zip, there's a nice crease, and then you get a nice shape around the thumb, and that's the inside of the hand, which you need, and that comes from here, which is quite dark. So we've got the feet, and we've got the change in tone there. We've got the top of, might be better just taking that down a little bit, so there's not a foot's not as big as it is on the picture, just so you keep creating a bit more space. We can take more light off there as well in the rubber. Take our time with this. I'm not in any rush today. Although it's Friday, happy Friday. I love Fridays, I've always loved Fridays. A little bit more detail. Okay. What's it like to wear? Not too bad. Not too bad at the moment. Soften that. They need to kind of blend up. Yeah, blend together. Don't forget, it's lovely light here, and then that little bit of shape, which is just a bit of that, a lovely curve on it. Alright, I'll keep all of the compressed. Just here there's a lovely dart between the fingers because they're going in a different direction. So we can put the darts in like that and go around the thumb as well. It's quite nice. Try not to put the nail in on the thumb, you know. You've got a lovely light there just on this thumb as well. And it's quite complicated when you get to the feet, but we'll just pick out the big jaw, like something like that. Sometimes that's all you need, just picking out a few shapes, okay? And the hand, so you've got the fingers coming like that, okay? And the back of this, because this is actually a small finger, and then you get the other fingers coming down in shadow like that. So yeah, so we can just put those in inside the wrist, and then the outside of the thumb. This is quite dark, but I don't want to block that in with compressed because, like I said before, it's not very nice to remove. And we just have a crease where the thumb is and where the line is in her palms. And then we're going to have some more darks in her hair, especially at the back, to give you that lovely dark Rod Stewart hairstyle. Okay, and we're going to leave it. Yeah, it's going to be difficult removing the light, but we have got pastel. Just take the light off on that arm, like that, just where it curves, because you want it to curve. You also want this to curve a little bit because it's going towards you. I'm just straightening that up a bit because I've got a bit too much of a bump on it, you see. So that's nice and dark next to it. So when I say a bit of a curve, you want to just take the light off, which gives a reflected light on the other side of the arm, and then you can see where the bone is on your wrist. That is a really nice highlight there. I know it's green, but it'll work. That's the thing, it works. It doesn't matter what colour it is, as long as the tones are out. It was still online? Yes. Thank you. Spray. Make sure you spray bits. The bits that you put the compressed on, pull it, and make sure you spray the whole thing because you don't want it to run anywhere else, actually. Yeah, and we're going to dry that off. It smells lovely now. That's a big air freshener. Stick it on your wall. Get my hair dryer. Lovely sunny day outside. Hair dry it off. If you can do that and nothing moves, you're doing a good job. If you can do that and something moves, great again. And we're going to wash some off. So I'm going to glaze it. I'm going to glaze it with the same colours actually, because I can't be bothered getting any more colour out. And what's the point? Because you're only knocking it back again. So we get some water, get rid of the green off your brush, because you don't want any more green. You could use yellow. The yellow is going to warm it up actually, so we can use a bit of yellow and sienna. Yeah, should we? Yeah, why not? And go across the picture. Okay, so we'll go this way. Right. Across the picture. The yellow. Add some more yellow, a bit more colour, a bit more water, so that's going to blend it. to the background, which is a glow. It's all a glow. Soften the areas with the brush that you need to. So get your cloth, dry it off. Don't let it run in the back because we need some lovely kind of soft blends in there. Just blend it into the background if you want to. That's all you're doing. It's a glaze of colour. It's a lovely warm colour, this one, to reflect our lovely sunny day. When you do these things, you remember what the weather was like outside as well. It always reflects, yeah. Could use alizarin, yeah. But, keep it like that. We're going to dry it off. Dry it off a bit. Okay, I'm not scratching it again, just going to leave this. And then we can look at background, we can look at everything else. So, damp cloth, add a bit of water, it starts to dry out, sorry. Not very wet, just damp, sorry. Hiccuping, why am I hiccuping? It's not gin, that, it's water. It wouldn't be hiccuping. So if we look at the background, like this, we can lighten it slightly. You can see, some of these textures are going to stay, so you don't have to. So if you look at the figure, she's actually lighter. She's darker than the background, so we can actually play about with that first. Like that. Texture, like the hair. We'll put some of that hair back later with a compressed charcoal. Like that. So we can go around the arm, down the negative space, and we can soften, transition between a back. Inside here, I'm going to use some compressed charcoal, some willow, some white pastel, sorry. So at the top of the neck there, quite light. I'm going to work my way down actually from there. So you've got this lovely shape on the shoulder, like that, nice and soft. Then you get to that lovely highlight, which is on the back, on the shoulder blade. And then we go a little bit lighter there. Then we go lighter here, highlight on the side of the arm. So I've made a little bit lighter. The top of the shoulder is a little bit lighter as well. So we're back to the white gesso underneath, you see, just like that. And this goes into the neck as well, so that's quite light as well. And this comes down and blends into this shape, the muscle at the side of your backbone. So here it's quite dark, so we don't want to make that too light on that side. We just want a nice curve like that. And it's just going into that arm. Take off some of that light. It's all about making this kind of muscle chiaroscuro effect, muscular tones, isn't it? But not going too dark, too light, sorry, because we need to have that kind of transition between one area and another. So it's like the muscle tones in the back, there are not many, you know, so you just have to be very, very subtle, like that, and then as you're coming down here, you start to see a fold in the skin, and then another muscle, the muscle there, can you see? So you see a fold in the skin and the muscle. And then we get to the bottom of the back, you see the other side, and then you get the light reflection just on the back. And then here we get a little bit more light just under that arm, but not very dark, not very light, just a little bit. So we can create this shape, something like that actually. Get that lovely curve of the backbone, okay, and this shape in the middle. So you want to keep that, like I said, nice and light. I'm going to use this to put some light on this cloth, but I'm going to use this cloth in a bit. I'm going to use the palette knife for the clothing. So I'm going to paint around this figure. Take the light off around the figure first. Same over this side. Just go back to the colour, you don't have to go back to the light. Okay, it doesn't matter that much. And inside the arm, it's a little bit lighter there. So we go inside the arm, and then it goes light on the other side. So it's quite light there, isn't it? Not as light as the white, which we're going to be using in a bit. So now we get to, I'm just doing skin tones. I'm trying to hurry up a bit because I'm aware of the time, but just to get the skin tones nice and light, reflection on that side of the arm. Then it goes slightly darker in the middle, like that. Then you get a ridge there where the elbow is. Then you get the highlight on that arm, you see? Which just makes a big difference. And you've got a lovely negative space there as well, which we can bring out against the fabric, like that. And that's going to bring out the side of the fabric. We don't need to start doing the fabric, because like I said, I'm going to use a palette knife. So you've got the light on that hand now. Get your fingernail stuck into the cloth. Look at the bone and the top of the wrist, where you get these lovely changes in tone, and the change in the thumb as well, because you get a nice light there. On the back of the thumb, yeah. Inside the hand, very subtle. Side of the hand again, and then down near these fingers. You can take a bit off and then just use your cloth, just use a white pastel to put in some other shape. So I've got my two lines really. We can darken that in a bit. And then the feet, nice and light here. And then it goes lighter, because they're nearer. Just about where the wrist is, you're getting these little shapes where you're getting highlights, so we can flatten the wrist a bit, you see, like that. You're just getting these little creases actually, but nothing too much. Just the shape on the wrist. The elbow, more light there, because it's nearer to the light source, and slightly darker on this side. So that's where we blend. We do blenders, blend the tones together. Side of the heel, see. Then you got your big toe. It's quite light, and it catches a bit of light. And then you got the fingers, shape of your thumb. Again, we can move over to this one now because it's lighter on top of the elbow. Keep that subtle as well, nice and light inside, which it changes direction. The elbow, you got a straight line there, coming all the way down really, because it goes all the way to the wrist. And then I lighten that up, so you got a tattoo there, but I'm not putting that in. You could put it in at the end if you wanted, but I'm not. And then you got the light catching just the top of that thumb a little bit, and the creases, which we can put in later if you wanted. And then the thumb itself, we can make that smaller because it's a bit too light, a bit too thick. And then we can add the light on this hand like that, and then onto the fingers like we did earlier with the rubber. You're just doing the same old thing. And then we've got the shape of a finger there like that, and the back of a hand like that, you see, and then just in front of the wrist here. I've gone a bit lower with I've gone a bit too thick with the hand, and we can take that light off a bit there where the wrist, the other side of the, she's actually got a thin sliver of light. Then we can go around again, negative space around the subject, blend this in. You don't have to do it everywhere, we just create that texture of the light, which is sometimes it's nice just to go lighter where it's kneeling, so that gives you more depth. Okay, like that. And that goes across the picture. And the box shape, you can keep the box shape as a box. Like that. And then we've got this lovely light here, and we've got the box here, so we can lighten the box if you want to. There's a bit more depth. Corners, shadows, lights, negative space, all makes the change. These changes. That gives you a good workout. Okay, now if I use, I'll just look at this area because that's where the wrist is, and then we've got this negative space here, which is the bit. I can draw that in again. So inside the wrist and the arm it goes a little bit lighter, just like that. Okay. Just a bit out with the thumb and the finger, but don't make it too big because you don't want it to be too big. So we get our compressed again. Okay. Then we can alter these things like this. So that's the shape. I make the thumb a little bit smaller. Can you see? The way the creases are in the thumb now, and the creases in the hand, so kind of give it that shape. A bit too thick actually, take it off again. Sometimes when you do lines, so here we've got this lovely curve of the wrist, like that. I'm going to add a bit of, so that's a straight line, and it goes down into the finger, like that. This finger, little finger that, and then we've got these fingers here, and the toe, again, thumb, and there's a finger there which is going behind the hand, so put that in. Okay, and if you want to add some of the shapes at the bottom of the fingers, that's fine. Don't do too much though. Side of a hand, just make it out, bring out where the folds are, and the light catches some of these, and again where the zip is. I'm going to fix this in a bit. Okay. I'm going to use a bit of pastel, white pastel for the highlights as well. So we'll use the white pastel. It's 5 to go in an hour. I'm going to take my time with this. I'm not rushing this one because I want to do the palette knife thing at the end. So we can use the white for the negative behind his head, the inside of hair, things like that, just to give us some lovely kind of shapes where the hair is. Then blend that in because the shoulder is darker. You see? So we've got this really nice highlight. Could use paint if you wanted, doesn't matter. And then I'm going to block this in with the side of my pastel and let it blend into the rest of the picture. Can you see? So if you use the finger, then soften the edge, and that brings the neck out like that, and this comes around here, and then we get this curve, and we get it coming down again, and then it bubbles out a bit, comes down here. Lovely negative space. Okay, again use the side of the pastel, blend it like that, so you get that nice shape. Here we've got the same thing happening, but it's lighter on the figure, so I'm just going to blend this bit around the head. Like that. It's not good pure white, that, unless I press on it really hard. And then I want to do these lovely highlights on the actual bone structure and the arm. So we get these lovely lights catching, where the shoulder blade is, inside the back of her hair, and then we get the light coming here, which is across the shoulder, not a lot, just a bit, and then we get this lovely light coming down from there. You'll get quite a bit on the shoulder, like that, and then it will come down into this area of the arm. Okay, and we've got a bit of light there as well. I know we've got this on the fabric, but I'm going to go round this. So I'm going to fix this. It's just another way of doing something. Okay, the arm. Give you all these ideas. Don't just think about art as doing a brush, think about all sorts of things. We get this lovely figure, background, like that. Not as light as the figure itself, but light nonetheless, because we want to bring out this negative space, especially here. So we'll bring that out. Blend it. Okay, and then we look at the hand. We've got some fabulous lights. Okay, we've got that light on the thumb there. This goes round the corner, and then from the thumb you get this light, like that, and then across the wrist you get these kind of little lights, and then from the top of that soft tissue there, and then down the hand, which goes into the palm more or less, so you blend that a bit. And down the fingers, like that, that finger, this one, and then this one, you can see, something like 1, 2, 3, I've got too many fingers, that's the reason I'll get rid of that one actually, because it's wrong, so we're coming in from there actually, there you go. Too many fingers. Always count the fingers. Oh yeah. So you got 1, 2, 3. Light on the foot. Same there. Bit here. Bit there. The toes. Like this. A little bit on that toe. A little bit on that and that. Not too much, and I know the finger's supposed to be lower, but and then as you get to the thumb again, and then here we've got this one, which is a lovely light area. Again, coming down the side of the hand into the crease, and then along the fingers. So we take just the curve of the fingers like that. Okay, I'm just going to carry this light down to the palm of the hand. this one's important because it blends that into that. It's important. And that's about it for the negative space. You can actually paint around the fingers if you want, where they protrude from the bottom. It'll give you a nice shape where the two fingers at the back are, but you don't have to. So, and then we've got a nice shape there. Keep this. Okay, I'm going to fix it. It will knock the pastel back quite a bit. Okay, we'll have a bit more light on these elbows and then soften it just to bring them forward a bit. And that's the other side there, that's okay. Fix it. Stand back. Yeah. I'm going to do more to this, so I'm just going to show you a little bit of what I'm talking about with the palette knife, actually. So we get some colour out. A brush. Now this is cerulean blue. I'm going to put some on my palette. It's a flat palette now, so you need a flat palette for colour. So I'm going to start blocking in. Now, I'm not going to use any white at the moment. I might just do, but I just want to create these shapes around the figure, okay? Like that. And it doesn't matter if it's rough texture, because that is what we want. Between that lovely kind of shape of a back, okay, I want to create this fabric that's all around the figure. But I don't want it to be perfect, yeah? I just want it to be this lovely shape. You can let it disappear, you can bring it out in places, you can create an edge. It's just one colour, this cerulean blue. I'm not actually painting with any white, I'm just looking at the shapes in the fabric. I'm trying to emulate the lights and darks using that. You can see, you can go up to the white background. In a similar style to Mr. Demstetter, okay? So we can do this, Mr. Demstetter, and I am promoting you, mate, so I hope you don't go mad at me, but yeah, we are promoting you. So here we've got lighter tone, so you can go thicker, like that, leave some darks, come from that hand, you see, it's beautiful, lovely colours. I can run from this one as well, to break up that, where the line is, like that. You see, around there and then inside here, just to give that curve. And it doesn't really need much, does it? You can do a nice curve there as well. Don't go over the hand if you can help it. We could darken any leftover paint, put it back in your palette, in your bucket, in your pot, and that gives you a lovely. If you wanted to add some little bits of highlights, shouldn't be doing this, but I will. Just add some white, okay? Then start looking at some of the highlights like that, and this will give you 3-dimension, more of a kind of 3-dimensional feeling to the subject like that. and then but nothing, I don't want to be too fussy. So the light over this side is a lot stronger, you can see, like that, going around the figure. I can't do, it's hard to do curvy bits, but I can pick some colour up, I can pick some white up, mix it a bit, use the tip of my brush and just do that kind of thing, just to give a curve and then a straight line, you see, and then this thing, yeah, like that, going into there, and then I've got some nice lights just hitting some of this. There's some nice areas here. And here. And little bits here. And that's what I was talking about. And it doesn't take a minute to do, so that's why I wanted to get kind of to the end of what we were doing, just to create, you know, this lovely highlight on the model, the clothing, and the fabric of the clothing. So, without, you can carry on and do the feet if you wanted. I can just highlight those again, or you could use some white paint and a bit of sienna. See, you've got me creative juices flowing now, so I use white. Get your white and go over the shapes that I've just put in, or just use white on its own. Hardly any, a little bit of sienna there, and then just to give you the highlights. Okay. And then do the same up here if you want. Just where you kind of the light is on the finger and bottom of the foot, toes, you know, things like that. Take it off again, soften the edges. The hair, I'm just going to put some pastel in it for that, and then we can go around the hair, bring out the top of the head. Like I said, it's quite a light picture, isn't it? Blend it into the background. When you get to the hair, just make it go in and out, out and in. And then we get some compressed charcoal, which I can't find, put it there, that's it. And we just bring out some little squiggly bits. Because these are nearer to you, so they're darker, so you got depth in the head, okay? All around the face, the hair, and something like that. We can emphasise things now by doing the same with the fabric. Okay, that's all I'm going to do. That's I'll be here all day. I don't want to because I've got things to do besides painting. Creases. Like I said, with the back there's not a lot of creases. You start to see things that you might want to just bring out a little bit more, like the light on that arm, you see? Just little things. You might just want to leave it. Anyway, I'm going to put my blue paint away because I've gone mad with it and it's everywhere. Keep this lovely light against the box because I quite like that box now. Especially where the negative is. And then we'll take the tape off. So thank you, model, for allowing us to use your image. But not asked her, but I'm sure she won't mind. Turn it round. Stand back. sore throat. I hope I'm not going to be ill. It might be because I'm talking a lot. So, subscriptions are due. We've got Painting in the Style of next, which is going to be a French artist, but I'm not telling you his name yet. I found a lovely painting that I really, really like. Now, I know it's a lot of work for 2 hours, but I want you to have a go and try and carry on with this one to see if you can make, you know, get the detail in it. That's all I'm going to say. So I'll post that for Tuesday, because that's going to be Tuesday afternoon now, and I've finished till then. And there you go. Really enjoyed that today. This is what I do like actually doing. So, you know, instead of just painting, it's much more enjoyable. Anyway. Okay, so thanks for watching. Those who did watch. If you didn't watch, thanks for watching when you do watch. And comment, yeah, see if you like the technique. It's all about talking to each other as well. If you don't want to be a member anymore, just let me know before next week, because it's going to be changing next week to the first one again after Tuesday. Tuesday's going to be Painting in the Style of, and then after that we're back to 1 again. Okay, I'm going to try and develop more painterly kind of techniques as we go along now, especially with using other kind of implements to paint with, you know, any palette knives and cards and whatever. But I'll need to think about it a bit. Okay, thank you now, and see you soon.